So we had to be party disciplined. We had to have moral values. We had to measure everything that is wrong and call it wrong. We had to measure everything that is right and call it right. We cannot just say one thing is wrong because of our interest and then the other thing is not wrong. No. And that's one of the reasons why I cannot work in Liberia. When it becomes very laughable when people say the man looking for a job, the man looking for a job. I give you 1 week. If I start working in Liberia, only 1 week, they will either wish me or I will get sick and I will leave that job. Because the exact thing that America teaching me here when I go back to Liberia, and the same thing I will do in Liberia. You coming to work on time, you will be trained, you will be interviewed, you have to live up to ethics, and our country not ready for those things. It's not ready for those things. It's just that many people just get bored and tired, they want to go back home just to go be what. That's why the country not changing. So for me, I don't see many people to be my friend. No, I don't see many people to be my friend. Many people. Because we are not ready. We are not ready for the change that we always talk about. It is one thing to talk about change, but it's another thing to work towards that change. Right now, if I come in and talk, oh, Joe, we had a bad man. Yeah, go ahead, get ready. Joe, we had a bad man. Joe, we had a this. But when you look at moral immorality in society, you won't talk about it because it's in your interest now. My man, that's not real. My man, that's not real. Oh, God. I was born in the wrong country. I was born in the wrong country. If I ever had to come back to the earth again, not Liberia. If I ever have to come back to the earth, I'm not coming to Liberia, guys. I'm very, very sorry to say that to you guys, but this thing is just part of my DNA for me to just compromise my integrity. It's just hard. It's just hard. It's just hard. Maybe because the way I came out, the way I came out, everything that I managed to get, like brother man say, I suffer for it. And that's why I feel that it should be equally and proportionally distributed to everyone too. Well, I guess many people don't understand that, so that's why it is. But I will not stop. I will not stop. I will make the Liberian people to understand. If you are good, right now everybody talking about the lawmaker there. Well, the lawmaker then trying to make law to benefit themselves. The lawmaker then trying to make law to benefit themselves. Of course, the lawmaker then got to make law to benefit themselves because we got a country where we don't care for each other. So they're going to make a law that even their unborn children will benefit from the country. Why? Because when children go to the other one again, oh, that man that here in America, he's looking for a job. He's looking for a job. Ain't another thing the lawmaker not doing a good thing. Until we got to understand that we must take our personal feelings from things and fight for what is right for you and must be right for me. That's the only way we will make progress in our country. Just a few days now, I express myself now. When I go to all my following now, people leaving from there, they going. Do you really think I want anybody to follow me? Do I know that somebody that needs somebody to come follow me? I don't need nobody to follow me. Yes. Oh, what's what I say, Vivian? I don't need nobody to follow me. Yes, I don't need nobody to follow me. Those disciples that follow Jesus Christ, they believe in Jesus Christ. That's why they follow him. You don't follow people because 1 day or 2 days they support you and then you follow them. That is why I love my big five. Guys, just please bear with me. How do you call it? I'm buffering here. I'm buffering here. So I believe in my big five, and my big five believe in me, and that is why I love about them. Yes, I believe in them, and they believe in me, and that's why I love about them. Not the other people. Then I don't like seasonal people. When you hear for one of them, when you hear talking about them, you hoorah, hoorah. No. You must remain constant. You must believe in things that make the country right, not things that make you, that please you. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me say this here. This evening we'll be back on We'll be back on the how they call it here. We'll be back on the radio. And let me say this here. Let me say this to my B5. You excuse me small to my B5. You excuse me. And to all the honest people who been giving me money to do what? You excuse me small. Let me say something here. With all due respect, let me say something here. If you think because of what my stance are, and I'm not talking to my B5, my B5, I know you, and to all my religious giver, I know all of you, but their announcement is going to the other people there. If you think that, oh, because J. Randy talking the truth, we're not saying our father had to J. Randy. Good. I will take my own money. I will take my own money and pay that guy in Liberia. Yes. By God's grace, I can do it. I will take my own money and pay that guy in Liberia. If I will pay him every 2 weeks to complete that amount, I will do it. 1, because I believe in Mr. Cummings. 2, I believe what I'm doing is the right thing. So let me just take the B5 from there and my loyal ANC members who believe in what I'm doing. Let me move them from there. And let the other people just kind of say, oh, that man, the way he can tell that I ain't going to get my money. Good. I will be able to take my own money and I will be able to pay. That way, y'all will get to know whether I'm in the interest of Liberia or I'm in the interest of personal individual. No. The only reason we join hands together is because we believe that together we can succeed. But we must succeed with what we believe in as core values. We must succeed by understanding that what we consider to be wrong, we should ask ourselves, what can we do to not make ourselves wrong? If everybody feel it right, then let George Weah stay in office. Because Sidisha will always feel that nothing wrong. Yes. Sidisha always feel that nothing wrong. You ask Sidisha, man, nothing wrong, man. What are you talking about here? You don't even know what you're talking about. The president doing well. The president doing well. Man, nothing wrong with Magay. Magay doing well. Nothing wrong with 12 doing well. If everybody come on and say their party doing well, then who are we to judge other people? And this is why I want us to understand these things. Because the thing what you think is right, it is wrong in many situations if you look at it from different angles. So because of that, if we continue in our fashion, then we all will not be the right people to do the right thing for our country. So we have to we have to be able to do X, Y, Z. So let me take a rest here because again my daughter's school has started. So I usually come in the morning. So right now I'm buffering now. So like I said, school has started. So my daughter has started school. I usually drop her off and then I come here. I had to wait because it's just going to 9 o'clock. So we can do 9 o'clock. And maybe by 9:45 we can leave. And then I go to work. You know. But again, this Friday, today Friday, we will be on at 5 p.m. today. Yes, 5 p.m. today. 5 p.m. Eastern time. 5 p.m. New York time. So we'll be on the radio. Right after the broadcast, I will call the gentleman and say, hey, I want him to turn on his Facebook page. When he turn on his Facebook page, and I will ask every one of you guys to join him on that page. So that way, when the people are calling from Monrovia or Liberia, you can be able to hear him. So that would be my request to him. Yes. But I tell you much, guys, this first day of the program on Wednesday. Look, man, you guys need to go watch that thing. Those guys were overwhelmingly calling. And guess what? I already sent a message to Mr. Cummings. Yes. You remember those of you that were listening? 2 people called from 2 different districts. Yes, I captured that information and I put it together in a summary form. I sent it to Mr. Cummings. But I'm not going to tell you guys what Mr. Cummings told me. And you know, see, Mr. Cummings believes in people who are very independent-minded. He believes in people who are independent-minded. So I got words for the people tonight, and I will tell them. You see, that's why when other people say, Randy, don't mind the people there. I think I will start to believe in them now. I'm not going to mind the other people there because you know why? Mr. Cummings is not president or is not going to be president for ANC. Jaha told Mr. Weir, you are not president for Gosnoga Finley. You are not president for this. But Mr. Weir did not listen. I am beginning to believe that Mr. Cummings is not going to be president for ANC or CPP. No, he is going to be president for all Liberians. That is why he gave everyone all his ear. He gave everyone all his ear. Yes, he gave everyone all his ear. And that's why I love about Mr. Cummings. And I will never give up on Mr. Cummings. Because when I knock on that man's door, he ready to answer me. 7 years I did that for Joe. We are now one okay like this Joe we are getting me. But whenever I gather any little information, I pass it on, Mr. Cummings can just respond a little bit. That makes me very, very happy. That gave me a joy. That gave me more energy. That gave me fuel to come here and fight. But in the midst of my fight, those who I see that want to set Mr. Cummings back a little bit, I will come and criticize. You see, what you guys doing, you don't understand what I'm doing. Like my older daughter always say, one day you will thank me. You see, our voting population is divided into different categories. There are people that like Costa, and don't underestimate Costa. That man got people in our country. That man been doing the thing more than every one of us. He got people in our country. The man need a lister in the Department of State. The man need is on different radio stations. The man has gone and had interview. Stanton Witherspoon cannot make Costa internationally. I'm telling you guys right now. I'm telling you, Stanton Witherspoon cannot make Costa. Costa has been well known all around. That one, I will give it to him. Costa is well known. He is the GOAT, the greatest of all time of our Marlin Day talk show. Costa is a GOAT. And you think I'm saying the thing because I got Costa back? No. I ain't got Costa back. But what I want you guys to understand, Costa, what Costa is doing, as long as it relates to talk show, exposing government, Costa is the GOAT. I will give it to him. But when it comes to some bad character, like Costa, for example, Costa don't know how to talk to people. I know that. Costa don't have people management skill. I know that. Costa can get very, very angry quickly. I know that. But when it comes to how well known and connected he is, I will also give it to him. And now you see that thing you don't understand but me. That's why you don't understand but me. Because let me tell you one thing. When I was growing up, my mom died very, very young. And before that woman died, she told me, make sure everyone you come across, say the good thing that you see them doing, that society appreciate. Criticize them on things that you believe that society will not accept. And since that woman died, I continue to do those things. When Costa himself used to kind of say negative thing about Mr. Cummings, didn't you guys who follow me will see me come here and say, Costa, you're wrong, you this? So when I be making my part, when I'm making my criticism, why don't you guys go back to that day and say, that Rennie guy, yesterday somebody was saying negative thing about Mr. Cummings, he came here and really defended Mr. Cummings. So when you say the thing here, why don't we go back? But no, you just want for people to just be praising. And when we walk into Cummings administration like that, you will make life difficult for Cummings. So what I'm doing here, whether it is somebody going out there and criticizing Cummings, or whether it's somebody trying to praise somebody and denigrate the other person, I'm coming in there to diffuse the whole thing. So that when tomorrow the argument comes out, you'll say, but NJ Rennie said that person was wrong. Yes. I am the one who want to criticize you first before the other people criticize you. What they always say, if your house, the first critic of you is the people in your house. Everyone all growing up, when you finish dressing, you go outside, so you can't say your parents and see, hey, look at the shoe over there. That's the first critic they gave you. I mean, the first criticism. And that's what I'm doing. Because you know what? I'm trying to prevent that from happening. I'm the antidote. Because if we don't criticize our people wrongdoing, and we all think everything is okay, when they made that mistake out there and the public start to criticize them, it will be difficult for you to defend yourself. But in the situation where I find myself now, there will be people, few people will say, but Randy used to say the thing, everybody were part of the people, he said it. You see, one thing you don't understand, the mistake that CDC making today, It was their inability to understand. And Liberia is a country that will not change behavior, will not change the people. Whatever happening to George Weah today, George Weah did it to Ellen yesterday. Whatever Ellen did to Samuel Kanyado, that what CDC did to her. Whatever people doing to George Weah today, whoever can there tomorrow, they will do the same thing. So it is a constant behavior that continues to move. In mathematics, we call that constant variable. It's a constant number that don't change. And the constant there is the country and the behavior of the people. But we can try to do that because behavior cannot be changed, but it can be managed. And we should learn to control things. And everybody want to justify, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. Okay. Let assume nothing wrong. Let assume nothing wrong. And one day, one fateful day, that man get up and start go insult Mr. Cummings, man. And then I come here and say, oh, John, man, nothing wrong, man. That man just expressing a freedom of speech. Oh! Y'all are in the comic can now, plop. That generally man, we knew that man was fake. We knew that man was fake. We knew that man was fake. You hear that man causing coming, man, generally said the man expressing a freedom of speech. I told you that man was fake. I mean, some of you guys will be saying that. Why you think you'll be saying that? You will not be saying it because if I say that the man freedom of speech, because the man freedom of speech, it means any expression that poses no harm, right? But you will not be speaking from that perspective. You will be speaking from the angle of respect, and respect comes with moral value, and moral value comes with ethics. That's where you will be speaking from. So when we see people behavior in the society, we should not judge it only on freedom of speech, because freedom of speech will step on the reality of what we consider core value in our society. Freedom of speech, it is a right for every human being. But what they call core value is the self-discipline that everyone should carry out there. Like in America here, some of us here don't let us see children coming outside with their pants on their butt. But is that constitutionally wrong? No. Any man can be sacking in America here. There's nothing wrong with the man sacking. People can post pierce their ear, men, women press their nose. Is there anything wrong with that? No. But what do we look at? Many people will look at how society will view you and how your family value view the kind of style of dress. And then you begin to tell your children and say, you know what? I don't think the way you dress like that would be nice. There is nowhere in any job application or in any company that say, come well dressed. If you don't come well dressed, we'll fire you. But the reason you dress appropriately, it is not constitution that you always dress appropriately. No. But because of what? Moral value. Your behavior in society is where people will judge you. Anybody can go to the Letitia in Red, can go to a Fortune 500 company and go sit down there for interview. But the people look at me and say, damn it, the way that guy come to wear like this, I wonder what kind of home he coming from. What kind of community he coming from. They're not judging me based on my right to wear whatever I want to wear constitutionally. Because my dressing does not mean that I'm a criminal or I'm this. They're going to evaluate me on how I dress. Does that really represent the core value of this company here? Will that man be a face of our company or you be an embarrassment for our company? And that is why people who got experience will always come and say, hey, when you're going over there, make sure you look very nice, because that's the culture, that's the expectation. So you see, when young people are on a different platform, they saying things or they doing things, and some of us who are the grand poobah in these things, we come to create what we call a checkpoint. Because while we're creating the checkpoint, Costa behavior, the other guy behavior, there are people on both sides that don't appreciate the two behavior. But if Mr. Cummings is coming in the middle, and those other represent Mr. Cummings, how do we find a common denominator? You know, when you're diffraction, 2 over 5 plus 7 over 2, the two denominators are not the same, right? But you're supposed to solve that math problem. what do? They always say multiply the two denominator. So we got 5 times 2, that's 10. 5 into 2, into 10, go 2 times. 2 times 1, 2. 2 into 10, go 5 times. 5 times 7, that's 35. Then you solve the fraction. This is the applicability of the math that we learn. That is what I'm bringing in some of the analysis here. Costa got his people. Prophet Key got his people. But both of them, there are population of people in Liberia that don't appreciate both behavior. So when we coming in as the problem solver, we have to be very mindful. If not, we'll get our math wrong. If not, we'll get our math wrong. And that's where I'm coming from. But it will be difficult for people to understand what I'm trying to say, because we all don't think the same way. So think about what I just told you. If you are giving a fraction, 2 over 5 plus 7 over 2, how do you solve that problem? Prophet Key on the other side, Costa on the other side. But you coming to solve that problem. But the understanding here is the population, our 5 million people, plus the other thousands and thousands of Liberians that live abroad, both of them are not favorable to them, because we got people who are neutral, we got people who believe in Liberia value, we got people who believe in a self-discipline. So how do you present yourself? This is called analytical and logical thinking. Do you think many people out there understand these things? No, they don't understand these things. And there where someone all comes in to solve the problem. And say, this is wrong, this is that. Because what I'm doing now, people who read that photo will say, this guy making sense. They may not be in majority. This because they are people who think independently. Because in our country, you either on the against, on the opposition, or you for the government. That's how the country looks. You either this or that. But which is very bad for our democracy, because our democracy, we should have independent people. But we don't have independent people. And that's why we don't see things beyond the line of partisanship. Because the other people feel that they're right. The other people feel that they're right. So there's nobody in the middle to say these things are wrong. There's nobody there. So that's why we have to do all these things in here. All right? Let me see what the person said. Brother, what do you make of this girl by the name of Mariah always insulting people on Spoon TV from ANC? Well, I don't know, Peter White, what I would say here to you. I haven't heard Mariah insulting anybody. The only instance I'm speaking to Mariah is what I watched on both clips. But I don't know Mariah to be insulting anybody. No. I just think there are times that she uses her intelligence to criticize people. And because the terminology, you see, our understanding, Peter, in Liberia, and most of all who left Liberia and came here, we usually look at things from a personal feelings. And when we continue to look at things from a personal feeling, Peter, we will always judge people wrongly. But I think if you understand, there's something in ethics say, don't judge the person personally, but discuss the issue with discuss the issue. What I see most often as Liberians, we always like to take our personal feelings to address people's expression. And when we take our personal feeling, think about the word personal. When we take our personal feelings, it destroys almost the intent of what we're trying to achieve. What am I saying this? There are times that it's not only Mariah. There are times that other people will come up, even Costa will come up, and say things. But if you look at the person personally and tend to react to them, then your reaction will be based on what personal feelings in addressing the person. But if you listen to what the person said and you try to address that from the person themselves by looking at the issue, then you have a conversation. And like for example, people often get mad when I say, Joe, we are very incompetent. But in the professional world, Incompetent means you're not competent to do the job. That is not an insult. That is not an insult. In the football world, especially in Liberia, some of the terminology we use in football. That man a fisi player, man. That man a fisi man. But that fisi man is not an insult. Because in the game of soccer in Liberia that we call football, the opposite was fisi man. That man is a good player. But when we use that word on somebody and the person fail to understand and say, okay, maybe I'm not doing well on the field. Maybe I'm struggling on the field. And the description that is being given to me is because I'm not doing well on the field. So I am a fisi man. If you take it as that, you come out and sit down and go and improve yourself. But if you take it personally, or because you come from the guy, you come from another man, you will be attacking the person personally rather than understanding what the person is trying to say. So there have been no time that I had listened to Mariah and said that she had been very insulting. No. The only reason I'm bringing the thing up against Mariah is not about the party vision. It is not about the mission of the party. It is not about the objective of the party. It is not about the tax. It has to do with what the ANC consider as core value. Core value look at the ethics, the core of ethics. Core value look at the integrity. Core value look at the moral. So it is from that point that I am coming from to say I think it was not a best, it was not a best choice that she made. Because when we measure value, we look at how things are done. And I got it. Not many ANC people appreciate that. But what I get to say to them here is, if you think that core value doesn't have no criticism, then do not criticize Joe Weirden. Because most of the things that Joe Weirden doing, it tie into lack of ethics. It tie into lack of core value. So if you don't see anything wrong with Joe, if you don't see anything wrong with anybody that talk about ethical issue because one of our members has said something ethically in error, and then you want to ethically describe George Weirden, then I would say we can do that. Because if we feel that we are ethics free, we are immune to ethics, then George Weirden, we should give them the same, or application as well too. But many of you guys will disagree with me when it comes to that. Why? Because you want to score a political point. But what good will it do for the country if we see ourselves as people who battering over power, but some of the things that come to support the power, we are not considering those things? That we are not building an institution. We are rather building a political party based on our own ego, based on our own likeness, and then when we get there, the hard trouble will start. Because people will start to come after things that we thought that were the best thing for us because we want to get the power. Now that we're there, those things still apply to our behavior, and that how come people can generate power to create an opposition against us. And those are the things I'm trying to stop. Those are the things I'm trying to stop. But I got it right now. Not many people listen to me because Liberians, many of us are not good at understanding people things. We always let to get there and then we start finding excuses. So I'm not surprised. Like I said, coming become president today is not going to solve all Liberian people problem. There will always be problem. But what we want to prevent is problem that will be created by our behavior today. Because Liberians are very good at throwing blame. They are very good at throwing blame. We see having a job where, hey, I thought you had to do it to Ellie. Yeah, you the whole woman on a clothes like they to Ellie. They are going to complain here. So we need to take this thing here as a lesson learned. What can we do as a lesson learned? People can flip. People can drop the ball. If I were the one, let me just tell you guys, from an ethical standpoint, and I think the issue of ethics is something that we need to start to teach in our various schools in Liberia. Because there's nothing like ethics in our country. I can guarantee you that one. We don't teach ethics in our school, our place of employment. We don't have those things. But ethics are part of the package. Ethics is part of the package of having an institution with integrity. Because good ethics put integrity on the institution. Bad ethics show lack of integrity on the institution, because the ethics is part of our behavior. Ethics is merely about our behavior, our ability to look at things in a process that we do and say this one is wrong, let's do it this way. If we really have ethics among ourselves as Liberians, our government officials then will not be engaged in corruption. If we have ethics, people will not see the wrong and look the other way. If we have ethics, you will not find people sitting down listening to a guy who just there causing people man all day. We don't have those things. If we have ethics, we will not listen to cause that getting very angry and speaking out of character. Because many people say, you know what, we're not going over there. That's why you see most of the time you find intellectual people staying away from other platforms because of their ethic value. They can tell you, Mama, you can have all the good platform, but when you don't have people with good ethics, it's not going to work for you. And they are right. So until we face ourselves in the mirror, some people will kind of say, oh yeah, Jay Rennie, but you know what? You're supposed to come to us in the corner. But since I've been saying it, now one person from ANC has called me and say, hey, look, Jay Rennie, we understand what's going on. You know, going forward, we'll take care of that. No, everybody's sitting now with their own ego. Now one person even called me and said, Jay Rennie, I got your point. We are all in this together. So you see this, they had a self-ego continue to strive among us. Why am I going to that man for you? I already said they cannot do it. No. If you truly believe that you want to make a change and don't repeat what Mr. Weir is doing, you reach out. You reach out. The last time people call me, oh, my man, friends, they're cursing you. I say, friends, don't cursing me. I want to log into the show. I call him, man. I wanted to know why the man cursing me for or cursing my wife. Let me get to understand why he cursing my wife. And when I got there, we have a few conversations, the conversation stopped. But it just showed that when you are a leader, your goal is to find resolution, conflict resolution, internal resolution, external resolution. You always reach out. But I will be very honest with you guys here today. The people who are in the leadership of the ANC, most especially on the platform of Facebook, they don't have ethics. I will not lie to you. Their leadership does not include ethics. This is an honest observation by me. They don't have ethics. And they need to have ethics. You know, they need to mix politics with ethics. They need to mix it up. They need to mix it up because they don't really have it. Ethics is not about the vision. Ethics is not about the talking. Ethics is about how to manage what we say behavior-wise. That's what ethics is all about. They don't have it. And this is my own analysis. I am part of the group of people who support Mr. Cummings, but I have to be very honest with you guys. Because if I can say George Weah is incompetent, George Weah don't have the trained and experienced minister, that description is not only limited to George Weah. I'm saying it to George Weah because George Weah and his official got a country future in their hands and they are doing nothing to protect that future of that country. So if Mr. Cummings, I believe, is trying to be the next president, our criticism should start now. So that way when Mr. Cummings and people get in there will say, geez, if the Christmas will be good, we can tell from the eve. If we all here start to look at things, oh, they want wrong, Mr. Cummings. All right, we'll take care of that. They will move. Is it okay now? Yeah, we'll move on. Yeah, why that other one? Yeah, okay, we understand. Then we will know how we're going to see this government. We can see the pathway. We can see the trajectory. We can see the vision of the government. But when you get people out there, I meant it. Just from yesterday to today, the follower, all of them dropping all the 4 CC cameras, they're dropping up. And that is why the country going nowhere, because we are all praise singer. You know, somebody called me the last time from Seattle, Washington. A lot of people, when they call me, I like to listen to their conversation. The person made a very salient point here. The person said, look, let me tell you, Jay Rennie, we are all Liberians. I said, yes. We all come from that country, majority of us. I said, yes. He said, but what were you surprised about behavior for? I didn't quite understand what he was trying to say. I said, behavior? He said, yes. I said, but help me understand what you're trying to say. He said, we are all Liberians. What I mean is, those that on the CDC side, those that in the opposition, we are all Liberians because we got the same attitude. It's just that we're on different side. And I said, yeah, you got a point there. You got a point. And to apply to that to what the guy just said, it's the same thing. When we criticize Joe, well, we happy. But when I come and say something in the opposition group, then you're back off. But then when citizens support the Joe, then you got problem. And that's why I believe that guy was trying to tell me that day. That we are all Liberians, but it's just that we're on different sides of the coin, that why we behave like that. That is why we behave like that. So we should learn to criticize ourselves. Whatever Mariah did, I'm criticizing you based on ethics. When you run an organization, here are the key indicators that make an organization to have better integrity. One, you must have a vision as to what you want to see that organization or your leadership in a country should be. That's good. Then you must have a mission statement that will support that vision, what you stand for. Then after that, you can start to set your objective, your goals. But in the midst of all those things, the people that come in there to support you, they will be on what we call core value. Because the core value look at your behavior, your attitude, your interaction, will not only support that vision, but it will build around a whole institution something we call integrity. You see, some good company can have all the good vision, but the people that work there, that why can make the company to be bad. That's why you see every time when they say people want to rate the company, when you go on Indeed.com, they say, look at the people opinion. The opinion being expressed by people that don't like the company or the leadership is not about the vision. It's not about the mission. It's not about the task. It is about the behavior of the people in the company. That's why people, because when they go into act, when they start working, they are not working with the policy. They are not working with the vision. They are not working with all these things. They are working with people who come from different places, but their attitude, their vision, doesn't represent a value that support ethics. So when I see people trying to say, look at some of the things some of them say. Go by and read the post. Oh, because Costa running for Senate, that's why the woman asking that question. But Prophet King not running. But you're talking about behavior, right? Behavior outside society is the same behavior inside society. You cannot, excuse somebody because they're not running. It's not right. And that's why I think that we need to have more teaching. Yeah, we need to have more teaching. Because if we don't do that, the government could be ruined by behavior. Yes, the government can have a serious problem by behavior. By behavior. Behavior is the key thing in anything you do. Behavior is the factor that determines things. Even the car we drive, when they say aggressive driver, you think they're talking about the car itself? No, they're talking about the driver behind the car. When they say the soup not sweet, you think they're talking about the soup itself? They're talking about the person that cooked the soup. When they say the party got good people, you think they're talking about the party? They're talking about the people in the party. So it's about we, the human being. And if we cannot find ourselves on a core value, then we'll become problem. All the problem in our country. The national legislature then today trying to pass a law where they want to get themselves infinite benefit. It's about their own personal behavior. Why they feel good for them. Does that support ethics? No. Does that make the institution of the national legislature a credible institution? No. Does it have integrity? No. It is the behavior that determines all these things. And until we understand how we manage behavior, we're not going anywhere. We as the human being on the face of the planet, we play a significant role. Pay a new house, pay a new complex, pay a new building. That building will be clean, unique. But when you put people in there, you see the behavior turning things around. And that's what we need to focus. That's what we need to focus, folks. So there's nothing wrong with me coming here, but people just feel that, oh, why should I be criticized? I shouldn't be criticized. If I'm criticized, then they may not let me. They may not let me. No. But they don't criticize other people too now. If somebody don't like you because they're giving you constructive criticism, then don't criticize other people. So we should learn to accept constructive criticism. The democracy that we're part of today, and I say we almost go into it, 12 plus 5, 17 years, because the contemporary politics in Liberia is now enjoying the democracy since Ellen took office, and he has been 17 years now. And I understand that we're still learning the process, because many of us who live and still alive in Liberia and in a age, we saw from the day Liberia was founded that there had never been a true democracy in our country. We either had one party system where people were disenfranchised, community were disenchanted, and then we had the military government where they were cool here and there, then we came with the rebel movement. So we really did not get to see a democracy. But since Ellen was elected, we now have the opportunity now to see our democracy. There are a lot of things we need to catch up on, and there are a lot of feelings that will be hurt in the process. But your feeling has nothing to do with the core value that the world put in place. Your ethics, your moral, the integrity of building a better institution. Take your feelings out of it, because if you put your feeling in it, it will only be only you, and it will be hurting you. Look at it from what that meaning of that word mean. Yeah, look at it from that perspective. So we need to start teaching ethics. And you know, one of the reasons why when I tell you guys I'm not going to Liberia, it's not because I dislike my country, but the behavior in our people, it lack ethics, it lack moral, and we don't have integrity institution. And if we don't have integrity institution, how can somebody with integrity go out there to live? You tell the man you're kind of wear 8 o'clock, the man, oh my man, that man, you're from America, the man will be at 8 o'clock. Oh, that's true, yeah, all right, we'll see, but that man, don't worry. Guess what you're talking to? You are talking to the behavior of the people. But why are they resisting? Because they don't believe that what they should be doing are the things you're expecting them to do. But they want to do what they think is best for them. But they work for an institution, and they should be subject to that institution code. Yes. Your feelings, ethics, your feeling has nothing to do with moral integrity. Your feeling has nothing to do with moral value. Because that's all many of us, especially Liberian back home, and even here, we judge things based on our personal feelings. The first critic of you is the people in your house. We saw from the day Liberia was founded that there had never been a true democracy in our country. We either had one party system where people were disenfranchised, community were disenchanted, and then we had the military government where they were cool here and there, then we came with the rebel movement. So we really did not get to see a democracy. But since Ellen was elected, we now have the opportunity now to see our democracy. There are a lot of things we need to catch up on, and there are a lot of feelings that will be hurt in the process. But your feeling has nothing to do with the core value that the world put in place. Your ethics, your moral, the integrity of building a better institution. Take your feelings out of it, because if you put your feeling in it, it will only be only you, and it will be hurting you. Look at it from what that meaning of that word mean. Yeah, look at it from that perspective. So we need to start teaching ethics. And you know, one of the reasons why when I tell you guys I'm not going to Liberia, it's not because I dislike my country, but the behavior in our people, it lack ethics, it lack moral, and we don't have integrity institution. And if we don't have integrity institution, how can somebody with integrity go out there to live? You tell the man you're kind of wear 8 o'clock, the man, oh my man, that man, you're from America, the man will be at 8 o'clock. Oh, that's true. Yeah, all right. We'll see what I mean. Don't worry. Guess what you're talking to? You are talking to the behavior of the people. But why are they resisting? Because they don't believe that what they should be doing are the things you're expecting them to do. But they want to do what they think is best for them. But they work for an institution, and they should be subject to that institution core value. That's why you see every corporation, every entity, they talk about core value. And you know, in the society, we look at it as human right, civil right. We look at all these things. Government, because institution like private entity, they don't take civil right in their policy. They consider civil right under what? They embedded that into core value. In the general population, government, society, because government deal with different set of people from different organizations, they look at everything from a civil society standpoint. But when a company comes in, because they are private and they're not taking the entire population to their company, even though they're doing business for the entire population, they are only catering to few people who work for the company. What they do with that civil right, they take the important component of the civil right as it relates to respect, equality, equity, and put that into ethics. That's why when you go for employment, they tell you, they say, you know why? We don't do horseplay here. We respect diversity here. We respect, you know, all human beings to be equal in our organization. They are essentially taking those things from out there and bringing it into private company. So that is the same thing we need to do. Good morning, that's you Montreal. That's what we need to do. When we run in the institution that Mr. Cummings has, because Mr. Cummings is from a background where ethics are seriously considered. So he is more entrenched into ethics. And because he's very busy right now, some of us out here who see things, and I know some of you guys out there do see things, but again, your personal judgment, you don't want to compromise your personal judgment, because some of you guys are so passionate about hurting people's feelings. And you know, and it's like you get a signal, but you don't want to tell your neighbor what kind of signal you get before they carry your knee around. Some of you guys are ethically inclined. Some of you guys see things wrong. But because you're not brave, or you don't want to hurt other people's feelings, you feel that if you say it's going to break that relationship, that friendship. But what good will it do for you when you are willing to sacrifice the integrity of your institution you support because you love somebody? And that could even harm Mr. Cummings. Just because you have somebody's feelings on your side. I think that is quite wrong. I think we all need to be able to ask ourselves, do we really want to change that we think that joy we are not bringing? If that answer is yes, then you start with yourself. How do I treat people? Because you see, behavior in society has the propensity to change the mindset. Our society should not encourage people who go out there and insult people because they feel that, oh, that's my way. There is nowhere in any societal rule book, as in R-U-L-E, rule book, that say, oh, because I disagree with my man Sylvester here, they have to go on a rampage and start causing Sylvester man. It is ethically wrong. It is morally wrong. Because whatever Sylvester is doing to me, I should focus on what he's doing and expose that behavior of his. But not to go after his mom or after his wife. Then what am I doing to the incoming generation? I'm teaching them this is the way you can solve problems. And what makes it worse too is when you bring that individual on a bigger platform and then have a conversation with that person, you are also promoting that behavior. You are promoting that behavior. And that's why in America, people like that cannot come on anything. You don't find it in McDonald's commercial. You don't find it on any NFL commercial, because that is a bad image for the country, and it will do everything to stop it. So when you see guys that Witherspoon and bringing those people in there, Witherspoon are not people who want to see a better Liberia. Because what they're doing is they're telling the younger people, oh, you can go out there. Some younger guys say, my man, I made a big, he came on the big platform. Why? Yeah, I mean, I'm causing for my. Oh, yeah, all right, my man. I will start causing for my too, so I can go on that platform. It's called mirroring the behavior. It's called adapting to a bad behavior. And we should stop these kind of things. Because if the cousin had done well for that man today, George will not be to where he is today. But it's just painting our country an image that we say we don't have integrity as a country and people. It's all come from what? The lack of moral compass or a set of ethics. So we need to understand these things. But leadership, if you are playing a leadership role in any society, it is not just about preaching the vision, the platform, but it's about how ethically you're going to judge things when you see things. Because the voting population, they are very diverse in their perception and their minds. And like I said, the example I gave about the fraction, you got to be very careful how you say things. One of the person that really managed their ethics when they were in position, it was Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama was faced with a lot of issues that could show his bad behavior. But he ethically managed how to manipulate around things. And I think he did quite well. And I learned from that myself. That when you're dealing with a diversity of people, you will have different mindsets from different people. But how you manage those things is going to make you a good leader because you learn from those things. So there's nobody just come here to be happy. So whoever asked me about Mariah insulting people, I never heard Mariah insulting anybody. All right? Never. She's a smart lady. But sometimes when they make errors, we all make errors. Everyone all make errors. And I believe that when we make errors, we should, put it up. Like in my company today, performance level, we got red, we got yellow, we got green. We got those things. But today we are encouraging people with red to put it out there. Because the red is where we are struggling. And we are being informed that once we see the red, we shouldn't criticize anybody for giving all that red. We should understand what is the idea behind the red that keep coming up. What is missing that keep bringing the red up. And when we take that kind of soft approach, not a hard approach, we're going to understand that maybe family issue, maybe medical issue, maybe people not really understanding how things are done. We don't praise the green because those are in the green already, they are already gone. But we want to get people all the red. And getting all the red doesn't mean I want to criticize you. No, we just want to understand what you're doing from time to time that keep generating this red, that keep generating this red. That's why it is. So I'm saying is when we see things wrong and some of us decide to call it out, people should not take it so differently and begin to judge her. Because we Liberians, we like to take things personally and we judge things based on our feelings and not with our mindset, not with our ability to comprehend things, analyze it, and discuss it. We quick to react on our feelings. And then people always say, your personal feeling got nothing to do with the Constitution of Liberia. Your personal feeling got nothing to do with the ethics that we're talking about. Your personal feeling got nothing to do with the moral that we look up to and expect everyone to do. It had nothing to do with that. And the issue of ethics is across everything. I just want for ANC folks to limit any eventuality that CDC will want to use in the future against Mr. Cummings. That is my bottom line goal. Whatever we can do to limit the number of things that we are doing today, because CDC and opposition, if Cummings become president, will go back to those same things and they will use that as a measure and reason to do what they want to do. And guess what? They will bring the video out. They will show it. And they're showing Buffer Chimbaran today arguing with arguing with police people about LU business. Why you think Buffer Chimbaran cannot come to talk this thing? Because those things are reality. The video image cannot lie. So with what we're doing today, videos are being captured. And if we don't do the right thing. So for example, in the coming administration, if people start to criticize Mariah, somebody can bring Randy and say, yeah, Randy Posel. Randy criticized Mariah when she was not in power. He said this to Mariah. And that will level down the argument. Because the point is, well, people who support Mr. Comey, even criticizing Mr. Comey official. And then they will be walking in there knowing to the back of their mind that whatever they do wrong, they will be criticized. They will be criticized. So that is my goal. I want you to see me as the referee. I want you to see me as the corrector. I want you to see me as somebody. I know the ANC people are angry with me, but I'm sorry to say that I don't give a damn, because it's about Mr. Cummings' image. You saw how Mr. Cummings went to court. They dragged that man into court. I never saw him putting a bad attitude. Mr. Cummings exhibited the highest ethics in our court proceedings. Yes, he exhibited the highest ethics in our court proceeding, because everywhere he went, he never argued. And that how come today Mr. Cummings is surrounded with good integrity, because of the level of ethics, the value that he showed. Because he's an innocent man and he's a clean man. Yes. I'm teaching ethics here, Victoria. I'm teaching ethics here. We're not making flower here. This is an ethics class here, so don't come mix things up. This is a class of ethics. It applies to everybody. The attitude I'm talking about is not for ANC alone, so don't bring it. It's an ethics class. This is an ethics class. This is a thing that everybody need to do. It applies to Unity Party, CDC, everything is about behavior. So that's why the topic of, I'm not saying ANC. I made you ANC as an example, but the all goes to everybody. Yes, it goes to everybody. It's not just ANC alone. It is a societal problem we have. It has now transformed into our politics. And we need to understand that in order to run a smooth society, we must have ethics. And that's why I'm bringing it up here. We need to have ethics. So I'm just using ANC as an example, but they go across everybody. People get so angry, people get so delusional. Even Joseph Boakai himself. All right, let's start with Joseph Boakai a little bit and go to the other body. When Joseph Boakai was asked about, are you willing to be vice president if you lose? Joseph Boakai looked at Support Joy and said, hey, I cannot be vice president anymore. Ethically, morally, it's wrong. Because Joseph Boakai cannot take a personal feeling and say, oh, because I've been serving as vice president for 12 years, it means that I'm automatically supposed to be president or be the senator. No. It's ethically wrong. Why is ethically wrong? Because our democracy say you must compete in order to win the standard bearer. But in Joseph Boakai's mind, lack of ethics that provide fairness, because ethics also have to do with what? Treating everybody fair. What is ethically wrong with Joseph Boakai saying, hey, I'm in the democratic system, but I feel that because of 12 years, so Joseph Boakai himself too doesn't have ethics too. And that's why I said most of the institutions in Liberia lack ethics. Because part of the ethics of a democratic system is to be able to understand and acknowledge that you need to be able to go through a process that's called democracy. Yes. And you know, all right, let the man be part of the process. But because you see, he left the CPP because Joseph Boakai does not believe in ethics. It is again, it's driven by behavior again, right? His self-ego. I don't want to be white because maybe I may be the second person to be a vice president. What good way it do Joseph Boakai rather to be a vice president for the third time than not to be on any candidate? Because in America, here, you lost that election, Joseph Boakai, you will never be any kind of vice presidential candidate. So if you're looking at it from the breast side, Joseph Boakai, you should say, thank God for Liberia. At least I'm not like in America where when I lost the election, the party caucus will never bring me back. So if I even go as the third time as vice president to Mr. Cummings, I will be okay with that. At least I got a job. But no, we don't believe in the kind of ethics that support our democracy. And that's why Joseph Boakai left that place. So when you look at things from the ethics, because you look at behavior, you look at interaction, you will find many faults in our system and in how we do things, individually, collectively, as an institution, both private and government institution or public institution. We are falling short when it comes to ethics because most of the things that we do, we inject our personal feelings into it. We don't look at it from ethics. Ethics also look at fairness. Ethics look at equity. Lawmaker then over there today trying to do things here. And you know, they're trying to do things about making themselves come fresh. That's what they're doing. All right. So that's what we're trying to do here. So whoever made a mistake, we had spoken to George. We had about ethics. We had them failed to follow ethics. We criticized Joseph Walker about ethics. But now that I'm part of the ANC, I will be very rigid on them. I will be rigid on them because I want them to do better. Like I said, if I'm tough on somebody or I'm tough on a party, I believe that the party can do more. I believe in a party. And that's why I'm very tough on them. Yes, and I will be tough on every one of them. I done it to Yasini. Yasini promised me that she was going to call Sonny Ball, and Yasini never called Sonny Ball. And Yasini is wrong. She can't come to me and tell me, say, I will call Sonny Ball and never call Sonny Ball. That's not right. So if Yasini hasn't called Sonny Ball, she need to call Sonny Ball. If she cannot call Sonny Ball, then she cannot criticize Mr. Weir, who people say, oh, Mr. Weir no key speech. So if you, Yasini, don't want to call Sonny Ball, then you challenge Joe Weir too. Because why is so bothering you that you don't want to call Sonny Ball? Because Sonny Ball had appeared on the show several times and told me, say, oh, Yasini hasn't called me here. And I'm making the announcement here. Yasini, you promised me on my show you were going to call, the conversation we had that you were going to call Sonny Ball. Have you done so? Yasini and I pick up the phone to call me. So ethically, it's a behavior problem too. And, but we got to ensure that we can mix politics and ethics together. That's the combination that will make us great. How you doing, Sis Yvonne? Thank you so much for coming on here. So that's what we need to do, folks. That's all we need to do. So what will it do for you wherever you go? You want to enjoy your personal feelings. Your personal feeling cannot win all the time because it's all about you. It's not about everybody. So you're that dropping off. You don't want to watch my show. I don't give a damn. Speak the truth. I don't give a damn. Because with that kind of attitude, I can project that many of you will make Mr. Cummings administration to be a very embarrassing administration. Because what it will start to show, Cummings, all the far how and far wide will not be able to solve that problem. What will happen here? Cummings will start to engage the opposition that will be out there causing chaos. Because we call that thing complete distraction. If what we are doing today, we cannot correct it and Cummings become president, the opposition will always take to the street to create distraction. So Cummings far wide will not be able to solve, and then Cummings far high will not get any time to be solved because there will be one noise on the side. And when you go talk during that time, they will tell you, say, when we're there and you're doing the same thing too, and you're saying nothing wrong with that, we're speaking that our own right. That our own right. And then in the end now, you always start fighting to do crowd control, managing behavior, and then you will be concerned more about what? Respecting human rights, and then every other thing that Cummings got on your list, it will be giving maybe 10 or 20% over 100. And in the end, Cummings will fall short in accomplishing your goal because there will be a lot of things out there that will be distracting Cummings every day. People will go out there and tempt the government. They know how to. You see, Liberian, what you don't understand about many Liberians, few of you guys, these guys that in the country, they know how to press people red button. And with the opposition, before a CDC, if they come back in opposition and come in president, they know how to press button. Because remember, they were there for 12 years, and now they are now there for 6 years. If Cummings become president next year, and he starts 2024, the problem will come from the CDC again. They will come by and be causing trouble. And they know exactly what to do that will give them that right to do it. What to say. Because the master of the game is the person who had the experience already. So to limit those things is to come in with what I call a very calculative behavior. Watch them, get to know what triggered them so that you can do X, Y, and Z. And that's all I'm doing here. So, but if you take your personal feelings, it means that everything you're going to do under the during the Cummings administration is all going to be about personal feelings. It's not going to be about moral ethics. It's not going to be about anything but personal feelings. So if you can't take it now, what makes me think that you'll be able to take it? All right? So that's where we are, guys. I got 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Let me start my journey right now so that I can start to get to the office there. But again, don't forget this evening, we will be live on the radio. We're going to be live on the radio. All right. And let me see what the exit is. All right. That one, this one said go straight. One way over there to turn around. All right. Very nice place, folks. Very, very nice place. Very, very nice place. Very, very nice place. Every state got a very nice place for the people to enjoy. These are all the taxes. So that way, I mean, that's it. So I don't have any issue with anybody that having something and say, oh my man, we not do the. You can do whatever you want to do. It's up to you. You want to make a country, your country is up to you. But for me, I will tell you the truth. Yes. And I don't mind people telling me the truth. You can come and tell me the truth. It will help me to. Yeah, so I was buffering, so I'm sure I'm going to lose a lot of people in the process of buffering right now. Yes. You know. So that's why it is, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be seeing you at 5 p.m. Please join us. And just another announcement. Hot FM has been having issue. In fact, right now, I mean, as I was talking to you, the guy was calling me. He told me this week that the station will be back on because they had some type of electrical problem. So they went off, and they are working on it to make sure that they do everything possible. So they had FM show. Hopefully, by God's grace, they will be back on Monday. So let's keep our finger crossed. But the radio station here, and we have to stick with them and stuff like that. What you might try to say, you might try and read out a whole book. I can't read all your book here. There are people in left that you can convince. Anyway, I'll read it later on because I'm driving right now. But I appreciate every one of you guys, and I appreciate you for your honesty. And I think my goal here is we should be able to counter the bad things that we has done. We should be able to counter that with the good behavior we got. That is one of my goals about why I'm fact checking these things. Because the last thing that we want to do is to do things that we hadn't did. It will completely put us in a very bad situation, and it is not healthy for Mr. Cummings' administration. If Mr. Cummings comes to power, Mr. Cummings should be somebody who should be able to focus on his job. Yes. Oh, who's going to be speaking? Easy. There are some good people that speak easy. Victoria, do you want to volunteer to speak easy? Victoria, make sure. Do you want to speak easy for us? If you want to speak easy for us, that's fine. I mean, let us know. I can assign you to Miata Takina. Excuse me there. Alright, I can assign you to Miata Takina, and we can hook you up, because starting from next week, and to get you on board. So if you want, just let me know. I didn't see Miata here today. Yes, I did not see Mela here today. Well, I mean, that's your choice. If you don't want to do it, Vic, that's fine. At least you brought it up. That's the positive we can take from there. At least you brought it up, so that's a positive. So we made the announcement. Anybody in the ANC, I'm sure ANC got a lot of people that speak Gisi. I'm sure. Yes, ANC has a lot of people that speak Gisi. So we get people that speak Gisi. Yes, I'm sure there are some ANC girls that speak very good Gisi. And there are some ANC guys that speak good Gisi too. So we'll not be sure that in the Gisi department, we'll have people there that will come and speak the Gisi. There will not be a vacant space on the ANC CPP camp when it comes to Gisi. And any other dialect, I call it language for that matter. Oh yeah. Right now, so yeah, thank you. So guys, yeah, thank you so much. We'll reconvene at 5 gardening. He reminds me of Adolf Munger. Those of you who know who Adolf, when Eddie and them were struggling, Sedition had the opportunity to make things right. But they never did that. So today now they are going down along with the country. And you see them going on spoon and having this and having that. Who would ever imagine? Who would ever imagine that George Solo would be saying nasty thing about George Weah? Let's go back in the photo here. Got my Ziploc bag, bacteria urine. And I watched what happened on Spoon. And what I would say here is this. It's a sad story, a tragic story, and I hope that people can take cue from what. But again, I would say I think it's very important that I will not doubt the image of what happened on Spoon today. I want to say thank you for that opportunity. But will you ever imagine? So there you have it there. We want a new day in Liberia. No, you will never be. Let's see here. Let's see here. I want for it to start so that I can show you guys when I was starting here. Okay. All right, so we're going to pause this here. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for taking your time out to watch me here. And I want to commend every one of you guys. And, yes, I want to thank every one of you guys for taking your time out to come in and listen. Everyone on Facebook got what they are on Facebook for. Everyone got what is in society. But things that relate to our people back home as Liberians, I'm not going to stop. I don't care who you are. If you decide to run for public office in Liberia, where I have connection just like you, you're not going to get an easy ride from me. I'm going to question everything you do. Yes, I'll tell you this. If you're a private person, you went to Liberia, I'm not going to put my mouth on you. There are a lot of private people who leave this country today and leave other countries and go to Liberia. I don't put my mouth on them. But if you want to be part of a government structure and you think you're going to be free, no, not for me. I will criticize you everywhere. So, I want to thank my sister here, how they call her, I think it's Muta, for sending me that image of what happened on Spoon today. I want to say thank you for that opportunity. But will you ever imagine that Solomon Josh, aka Solo, will be against CDC today? No. He will never be against CDC. Do you think Stanton Waterspoon know how CDC started? No. Do you understand why things are the way it is today? No. But what I want you to listen to is this thing here from 2014. Congress for Democratic Change inducts new female exonerate May 3rd, 2014. Now, let's listen to George Solo here. All right? Let's listen to George Solo. There goes George Solo right there. This is George Solo here. And I want you to listen to what George Solo is about to say about George Weah and what got us to where we are today. And I will try to break it down for you guys. And what lesson can we learn from here? All right? But I want us to go into this discussion here, focusing on behavior and ethics. All right? So let's pay attention here. Listen here to George Solo.
Now, it will take the animals too bad to be public about that you now have the right to run. In 20 seconds, what's going to happen? People living in this course have spoken.
So there you have it there. We want a new day in Liberia. Is that what we're saying today? St. George Weah a president. Yesterday, when Eden was president, CDC wanted a new day. Today, George Weah is president. Liberty Party, Unity Party, ANC, CPP, they all want a new day, a new change, right? But what went wrong in the CDC? And what are we learning from today from what happened in the CDC? And this is where I come in. Because if we don't take a cue from what happened to CDC, we are bound to repeat that same mistake in whoever will take after George Weah. And I know right now a lot of people say, oh, my man, move forward, man. We are looking to that thing. I got it. I understand it. Because when you see yourself at the edge, when you are about to grab that trophy, there's nothing going to stop you from listening. Because CDC was one time in a situation too. And it's only when you get there and then you say, yeah, my man, you were right. But I was not trained to be that way. I was trained to understand what are the mistakes that have been made and how can we fix it. So the George Solo, the Akaras Gray, everybody you saw in this array today, the Nathaniel McGill, them, I want you to listen to what George Solo is going to say here tonight so that we can learn from those things and see whether we have already dotted our I's and crossed our T's. Because if we don't do that, we are bound to repeat the same mistake. And something that you already know has happened and you ignore it, if it happened, you cannot plead any innocent because you either did it deliberately or intentionally, because the lesson learned was presented to you and you never pay attention. Today, I feel sorry for Sedition. I feel sorry for CDC. But why they should I feel sorry for them? I'm worried about the future of the country, especially people who are in other different organizations. I'm worried about their behavior. And I got to speak against that because it is the behavior that destroys things. It is not the things that destroy the behavior. It is the behavior that destroys things. And this is where we come from now to speak. So without further delay, let's listen to George Solo here right now, folks. Listen to George Solo here.
Injustice, but what you did not know.
So this is George Solo here, folks. That's George Solo that many of you don't know. And I want you to listen carefully to what George Solo is about to say. Let's play on.
You will know today is I will lead the Congress for Democratic Change to victory, whether you like me or not. As my boss, I've spoken today. If you can join me, it will be easier. If you cannot join me, you need to get out of the way. I have to lead the Congress for Democratic Change in 2014 and 2017. I take that very seriously. I will fight with all my energy and defeat any man, woman, or object that get in the way of the Congress for Democratic Change. I'm waiting for my primary. After my primary, we will put forward our candidates. If any individual living in this society knows what is good for you, stay away from Montserrat County. I'm going to be accused. Tomorrow you read the newspaper, I'm going to be insulted. No problem. But I'm used to it. The political leader of the Congress for Democratic Change will be contesting primary. I will vote for him. And he will win. We have talked about it, we have discussed it, we have played with it, but we all know what's going to happen. I have one vote. All the members of the executive committee and people that I know, I will call them to my house. I will ask them to vote for the political leader. It is not a secret. I'm the national chairman, I have a strategy to promote. If my political leader is running, he will win. There are other positions in the Congress for Democratic Change. Let's look. In 2017, he will run for stand-up bearer at a convention. I will vote for him. And he will win. If you want to be a part of the Congress for Democratic Change, you want to be a part of the Congress for Democratic Change, it is within our Constitution you have the right to run. In Montserrat County, I will not support you. In 2017, for stand-up bearer, I will not support you. There are other positions within the CDC. We will find ways and means to support you. Those positions are taken. I will not meet with anyone. I will not talk to anyone. I will not make another comment about Senator of Montserrat County or stand-up bearer for the Congress for Democratic Change until such time that we are done with convention, and I'm informing you that we now, what all of you refuse to accept, that you now have to pick up your pen, pick up your paper, because our leader is going in Montserrat. I am from Grand Gila County. If you are from Grand Gila, do not be offended. My attention is Montserrat County. Where my leader goes is where I go. I will help other people. The party will do the work that it has to do. We will be victorious in many places, but I will be unhappy if we are not victorious in Montserrat. If I have $10, I will put $9 in Montserrat. So, I decided to come here today to tell you, because I want to be honest with you. If you are a partisan and you are thinking about Montserrat, talk to me after the convention or the primary. I will not talk to you. I will not support you. I want to be public about that. If you are within the Republic of Liberia, you have money, you don't have money, you have cars, you don't have cars, you work with other presidents, you did not, you stole money, you did not. The Congress for Democratic Change stand-up bearer is George Manuel Weah, period. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure to come to sit with you and to talk about what we need to do to take our brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers out of the situation that they are in. Everybody was singing and dancing and rejoicing. I wasn't. Because as you were singing and say a new day, you said I may get a job to get a new day. That's why I don't dance. Because while you are dancing, it's my responsibility to prepare the ship that you're going to get in, to go across that water. And for you familiar with the Bible, people of God, Pastor Logan, there was a flood. Only one man survived, and the man who built the ark. So it is our responsibility to build our ark now. It will take the animals 2 by 2. We will take it 2 by 2. But our Noah is clear. Our Noah is here. Citizens, we have to do what we have to do. I come here to caution you that we do it without shame, that we do it with pride, because we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our people. That's why I support Ambassador here. And that's why I believe that my institution, that the mighty Congress for Democratic Change, the institution of Martha, the institution that even in the midst of difficulty, when people step on our necks, then we become stronger. When people insult us, then we become determined. I'm not going to preach. 2014 and 2017, is because he said man or woman. Thank you.
Of the forest. You know, it is very difficult to speak after some of the most important personalities of our party. When the political leader has spoken so well, when the chairman of our party have given a marching order, when our dynamic guest speaker have giving her a speech that educated us so much about leadership, and now you call the Secretary General to make a remark. Mr. Chairman, let me say to you, on behalf of the members of the National Executive Committee, that you are giving her a marching order. And this marching order will be fulfilled. And I believe that 2017, there's no issue of the standard bearer of our party. That the issue of Masorado has been decided. Because today is May the 3rd. Almost 90 days to the day of registration for the race of the senatorial election in 2014. And the message is clear. You know, as we were about to induct you, I was sitting and reflecting. And one of the things that came to my mind, which we all need to know, is that it is undeniable that the leader of our party, who is now declared the candidate of Masorado for 2014, will win the election of Masorado. The only way he will now win, the only way he will now win, except you cheat. And I believe nobody is willing to cheat because there will be a consequence. There will be a consequence if anyone ever thought about cheating. Because we know he will definitely win. So I want to encourage us, even though we know he will win, but we have to work hard. To prove, like the Son of God said, it is the beginning of 2017. We have to show to the world that CDC is ready. We are ready to take power. We are ready for a new day. A new day when tomorrow when you get up from your bed, you will not worry about finding food for your children. You will get up and say, yes, CDC have given me hope. At least I can cook and my children can eat. And let me tell you a strange thing that is happening you don't know. Our country now is experiencing 84% extreme poverty. 84%. We have to reduce, when you say you're reducing poverty, you have to reduce it at least, let's say 50%. Then we know because Liberia is a difficult country. But I want to encourage every one of us that we have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to begin to work today. So that as we move to 2014, as we prepare for 2017, the message will be loud and clear that the train of CDC is coming. Please move on the way before you get crushed. I want to thank you so much.
For me, every day of my life, I dream, I sleep, I eat the success of the CDC. What I want to say to you today, the Supreme Sisters, we say firstly on behalf of the caucus of the CDC, it's just unfortunate most of my colleagues are not here. The understanding is they are prepared for tonight at RLJ. They are in full support of this process. They asked me to convey this message to you. You will see us there this evening to tell you that we are in total support of this process. What I want to say once more to challenge you, Supreme Sisters, I hope this movement or this accelerator have been inducted in the office by our standard bearer today should not only be Maserati driven. I will appreciate to see this movement in all of the 15 sub-political divisions of our country, especially with this unique establishment. How colorful you are today, beautiful, you're so unique and very cool.
It is here. If you are not for your party and do what you can do. The second aspect from 2017, there's no point for contestation anymore. We will discuss where you come, where you want to be a vice standard bearer, we can discuss that. We want to assure the people if this country will be delivered, it will be delivered under the presidency of Ambassador George Manawia. On the basis of that, we are clear and defined on it. So the two that did not, the two that was not touched and want to highlight them. And this will be very clear. Those we give. And the power invested means to make you a full-fledged auxiliary of the mandate for democratic change. I ask you to be loyal to your own quest, to be loyal to the party, to be loyal to what you want to do to make the institution a great one. All the best. Remember, you are now a property of the leader of the Mandatory Democratic Change. You will be working in the confines of the leader of Democratic Change and the party. Listen to your party. Listen to your chairman, to your leaders for a better growth. Again, without much ado, I want to say congratulations, welcome, and this is the way it should be. Every Liberian that have like minds must be together to promote not only the image, the credibility of this country, but to promote one accord in the interest of our people. Like I said to my friend the other day, this is not a game. We are not playing a game. If we were playing a game, CDC would not be existing. Our people are dying every day. People cannot go to hospital. children find it difficult to go to school. But democratically, we will take over.
All right, guys. I know many of you guys don't like to see me, but this is what I do. You're watching images now from the past, right? And you're looking at the reality today, and you're like, geez, these guys. But my question to you here is, how prepared are you today? That maybe 10 years from now, your video will not be playing too. And everything you're saying today, how will the world judge you? You see, one of the failures of the CDC is the lack of integrity. It is the lack of ethics. It is the lack of coordination. Because everything you heard from George Solo, from Nathaniel McGill, 85%, the party will do this, the party will do that. But when they started to exhibit funny bad behavior, they never tolerated anybody giving them corrective action. They never allowed people to challenge them, to say, oh, guys, this thing you're doing here, let's try to look at it from a second angle. They never allowed that to happen. You will agree with me that everything that you heard them saying, those of you who were there at that time and had the opportunity to listen, you will agree that the suffering, lack of health care, lack of education, starvation, those were all true words, right? And people believed them. But nobody knew what was in their heart. Nobody knew. But people saw their behavior and how they started, and nobody cared to say anything. And some of us came and campaign here. But there's something called lesson learned. You see, one of the simplest things that I remember back in the days, prior to 9/11, people used to go at the airport, they enter the terminal, they even hug their relative, their loved one, looking at the airplane door to enter. But then when 9/11 came, all the routine changed for security reasons. So when you see me being very difficult on people today, it's because of what I heard in the past, because of what I know people are capable of doing when desperation is around. Everything that CDC said back then is the same thing that's happening today. And the same people that are going through the same situation, but different people coming with different intention. And I know what I heard in the past, and I know what I saw in the past. It's not a dream, but it is historical events. But when you find people now want to comply or listen to you, then it gave me the feeling that nothing will change. And that's why sometimes it's good to come up with a different video. Look at Joe, we are happy you're looking. Look at Maggie, happy you're looking. You see, George Solo is a very good guy. All right? George Solo is a very good guy. Yes. Mr. Solo is a very good guy. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why George Solo is a very good guy. This is George Solo right here. And this is me right here. This is George Solo right here. This is me right here. All right? I was part of them before. And that's why I said, if CDC doesn't do the right thing, I will come back here and criticize CDC. I said it. Why do you think I said it? I said it because I knew that things were going to get worse before. And those of you that don't know, I'll play it for you guys to listen to it here. I'm not difficult to deal with, but I understand what things can go wrong, and I can see why it go wrong. Because when we reward behavior, it becomes a problem for us. When George Solo then, when I listen to George Solo, when I listen to Nathaniel McGill, when I listen to all of them talking about how the people suffer in our country, I knew very well that to get it in right, we had to challenge ourselves. And what did I get out of that? This is what I got out of that. Listen to this here.
Hold on for 1 second before I lost my thought. I always say this. I am supporting Ambassador we are today. If he does become president, which he will, and he start to screw up, trust me, I'm a well-qualified person who works for one of the biggest pharmaceutical industry in America. I don't need job in Liberia. I will come right back here. And if you two does not come to sit with me, I will come back here and start to expose some of the things that I think that Ambassador Weah is not doing for the people of Liberia. Because you know what? I want to make sure that every Liberian who did not have the opportunity to come into this country or other country should be given an opportunity for the change he's advocating for. So the battle between the change that we're advocating for is just starting with me. All I've asked God for is long life so you guys can see that.
So that was me there on November the 6th, 2017. Why did I come up with that information? Because when I listened to McGill, you see the picture here? It was Asif Atupa that invited me to come to CDC. And I told them, I said, look, guys, for me, I came from a very poor background. I came from a disadvantaged community. And if you guys are ready for the change, I will do everything to support you. But we got to get it right this time. But you think they listen to me? No, they never listen to me. And to put myself on record, when I campaigned for George Weah, I said all those things today on audio. What you think Liberian would have considered me to be? Because the very audio here, I got a video to it. What you think Liberian would have said to me today if I never had the audio or the video and I sit here and say, oh, I told them before. What you think they would say? They would just say you lying. My point here is, I'm supporting ANC today. I don't know what in the heart of every individual. But what I do know, the very thing that McGill did identify yesterday, people in the ANC are identifying those things. But what guarantee can I get the Liberian people today? It's the same guarantee that I gave the sedition by putting myself on record. Because Cummings could win this thing. But what if Cummings win this thing? And then we start to see the same behavior coming back again. How will we be judged in the eyes of the Liberian people? What excuse will we have? Especially for guys like me who supported George Weah, and people say, oh, you voted for the man, you voted for the man. How do we manage those things? And these are some of the reasons why we need to sit down and work together. Because when people come with different experiences, you need to sit down and listen. But do you think people are going to listen to me right now? Oh, no. Jailhouse sedition did not listen to people who were talking to them during the early days. That had many of them will not listen to you and myself today. They have become tone deaf because they want to get that power. And by the time they get that power, the very thing that we're hearing today, when it not start showing the image we want, then it becomes something different. And the only way you can protect yourself now is to make sure that what you say, you capture it on video, you capture it on audio, because when the future generation come to judge you, you will say, you know what, this is what I did. Today, people are looking at what happening on Spoon now. George Solo, you saw over there. I will do this for Joe Weah, I will do this. They never saw those things. But all they see today is what happening on Spoon. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But do you know how it started? And do you know why? And more than what can we do to stop it from happening? People not interested in that. And this is what I want you guys to understand. You see, the problem of Liberia, it is not with our ability not to solve our problem. It is our ability not to learn from the past of things that happen and how we can prepare it to happen now. Nobody want to listen to me right now. I keep seeing my number keep fluctuating the day. Oh, that man, I put it, man. That man is there to talk one thing. Oh, that man to talk one thing. Oh. But for 175 years, we remain existing. How many people will get ready and say, for 175 years, we are not changing this country? Not many people asking that question. Because everybody get to power, they enjoy themselves, and they walk away. If I dare, I get what I want for myself, I walk away. Who suffer? The incoming generation that come from the poor family will be the one to suffer. So until we get to understand that when we run an institution, we need to have what we call ethics, value, how we govern ourselves. We must start to challenge ourselves. We should start to ask ourselves questions before we move forward. Because if we don't ask ourselves, if we don't challenge ourselves, if we don't question ourselves, we are bound to repeat ourselves. So today now, if you were to bring this particular video and sit all the CDC officials then down today, and say, gentlemen, you look at yourself, what you guys said many, many years ago. If you had to do it again, will you do it differently this time? But they cannot reverse back to what you just watched. But those are all who are sitting now and looking at the future of Liberia. What lesson are we learning now? What measure can we put in place? How can we challenge ourselves to minimize the mistake, to minimize what we think could be a reason for us to get in trouble? What lesson are we learning? What lesson are we learning? Or are we going to say, you know what, ready to hell with you? When we get there, we'll cross the river? Is that how we're going to run things? These are hardcore questions that we need to face ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And I will be honest with you guys, I will always come to ask this question here. Hate me, like me, that's just me. God brought everybody on the planet here for a different reason. I may not be a rich man, but I will always question people. I will always question people. I can't play all the whole video here or my sister because there are some people who want to copy the video here and they will not give me no credit here. So I can't play the video here like that. Some people will come and copy my video. They will never call me and say, thank you to Jay Randy. They will never do it. So I will not play all the video. I will not give you a little clip and you will see that. But when it comes to Liberian politics, I got enough of it. Enough of it. And that is the reason why when I speak in the way I speak, I know what I'm seeing because I sit down every day and watch many, many videos. I see many, many things. Because when I started to engage into Liberian politics in 2010, I knew what I was getting into, and I decided to video capture audio, pictures, and start to keep them. Because I know the last thing, that you want to do is to always keep evidence for people to see. So I already showed you guys the video now. So what happened today that Solo and Joe Weah cannot get along? So I don't know whether they told this story or not to you guys. It came a time Joe Weah was actually going broke. But they were collecting money from the Ellen Johnson Yesedi administration. The CDC had lost the election. Ellen had become president now since 2011. So CDC was waiting for another 6 more years. Joe Weah was not ambassador anymore. And he was trying to run for the senatorship. George Solo was very disciplined. I will give it to him. George Solo was very disciplined. If George Solo had been in this government today, I can say 85% or 90% we are not going to be the way we are is today. Because if there's nobody else that we are used to listen to when it comes to taking good measure, it was George Solo. You saw Nathaniel Magay, he was just secretary when George Solo was chairman of the party. But what happened, George Solo and T.D.I. Ure got a child together. Benedict Ure is the one who brought most of the children into CDC. Most of the boys always see dancing at this. When Taylor was removed from power, those boys had nowhere to go. They went to Benedict Ure. Benedict Ure could not manage the boys then. He decided to move into CDC. And that how come most of the boys in today that you saw joined the CDC. But Benedict Ure wanted to take charge of the party. But there's a time where Samuel Todd and King, they will see all kind of things. Oh, we don't want Benaire. I think some of you gotta follow me and you will see that video. We cannot take Benaire. We cannot take Benaire. We don't want Benaire in the party here. He did, he died. Oh, what can we take up? Man, who did that? Man, who did this? Samuel Todd was saying all those things. Let me just show you guys a clip of it. Let me show you guys a clip of
To
it.
the desecration and denigration of
The way the CDC was formed.
Yes. That's its raison d'etre. Well, as the French would say, the reason for its existence.
Raison d'etre.
It is a rejection, a reaction to, a protest against the annihilation of our political space by men who marauded our space, collapsed our country, looted and plundered our resources, and subjected our people to.
CDC wanted to correct that.
So we brought the movement in 2005 to reject the political class. Now, so that's something you have to stand for. To be a CDC standard bearer, let's get it clear. And I'm not just talking I'm talking about the broad set of people who fit this profile. You have to have democratic, unprecedented democratic credentials, pluralist, populist-based bona fides. You don't just ascend to the CDC standard bearership because you have the biggest checkbook in the country. If we had to do that, then obviously we have no right to demand something great. To demand something of CDC, it means those who lead CDC have to be able to aspire to something bigger to transform. But if your past is checkered, and then you become the standard bearer.
Samuel, are you indicating that Benaire does not fit in your definition
in my personal,
of a qualified candidate for the CDC?
In my definition, when we founded the movement, I wouldn't imagine him being the standard bearer of the movement.
There you go, right there. So Samuel Todd and others did not agree with Benaire because Mr. Todd felt that Benaire participated in a war. He came from a system that really prevented many of us from achieving our goal at the early age of our life. So it was not necessary. But there was a great split because Nathaniel McGill came from the MPP. Yes, Nathaniel McGill came from the MPP. He is a guy from the MPP. Yes, Nathaniel McGill is a guy from the MPP. All right?
People will be for you.
And people will be against you.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, you have to convince those who are against you that you're the best candidate. So because this is the exercise of democracy. I mean, even when we went to the elections, we CDC fear Ambassador George Weah. So saying like Brent said, they did not think that Ambassador Weah was qualified to be president. And at the end of the day, we campaigned. We said we thought Ambassador Weah was qualified to be president, and like Brent made a decision. So similarly in CDC, we expect that. So I'm not going to boil down into the argument of Samuel Todd's opinion. Samuel Todd has a right to his opinion. He has to convince the nation.
He also has a right. You also have the right
But
to.
I'm the Secretary General of the party, and I cannot express an opinion on who will be the candidate of the party. I was trying to malign somebody character. If you come and you want to be, my responsibility as Secretary General is to receive your application as a candidate and send it to the convention. You have to convince the partisans that you want to be a standard.
Mr. Todd says specifically that the CDC was formed as a protest against exclusion, as a protest against bar rule. And according to him, the ideology of the CDC is not to give political leadership to people like Benaire. That is the ideology, quote unquote, of the CDC.
No,
now, so I'm putting it to you. Do you agree that that is the ideology?
Listen, I don't think it's
of the CDC.
listen, it's not people like Benaire. Well, let me make it very clear. What we need to be very clear on is that the CDC, yes, I agree with Twe when Twe says not to keep the presidency to bar people. But Twe has to convince other seditions that Mr. Ure is in a category.
Okay.
It's not for me to do that.
What do you think?
It's not for me to do that.
What do you think?
When you are a partisan, my view is every partisan, every citizen has a right to contest for any position in the party. That is the party.
So by extension, Mr.
If Mr. Ure is elected at the primary,
so by extension,
if Mr. Ure is elected at the party's primary, the party will support Mr. Ure.
so he has the right to
He
contest.
has the right to contest.
And Mr. Todd
But Twe also has the right to say, no, Mr. Ure cannot be elected.
Okay, everybody.
And Twe has the right to that opinion.
Nothing is absolute. Mr. Todd also said that if Mr. Ure is elected as a standard bearer of the Congress for Democratic Change, he will, in his words, destroy the CDC. He will fight against it.
Well, I mean, that is Twe's opinion. Twe have to do that. I'm not going to get down into fighting it.
I'm seeking your response to what Twe said.
Listen, We cannot drag this process into what Toure said. Toure is an individual. Again, an example.
Toure is not an individual, as you call it. Don't be simplistic on Toure's position in the CDC. Toure is a founding ideologue.
But Toure is not the CDC.
I understand. One person cannot be a political party.
But I speak for the political party. I do
As a
not speak
Secretary
for
General,
Samuel Toure.
cannot conclude on this point, then we'll have a dialogue. Toure is not just an ordinary member of the CDC. This is the man whose concept about democracy and political party gave birth. He made worth the CDC, if I can say. So Toure is saying that the ideology of the CDC does not allow, quote unquote, people like Mr. Ure. I'm asking you, is that the ideology that you know of the party that you're leading?
I cannot define Mr. Ure as Toure define Mr. Ure.
Okay.
I
So
cannot
tell me about Mr. Ure.
That's not my. I have to tell you about CDC.
Is he a good partisan?
Of course.
Yeah,
Anybody who joined CDC, you have been with the CDC when I joined CDC 2011. You have been with the CDC. So we respect Mr. Ure. It will have any problem with Mr. Ure.
Do you know when he joined the CDC?
I know he associated with the CDC from 2011. When I joined the CDC, he been with the CDC. So he was the launching of our party membership draft.
Let's talk about the issue of money. They say the party has been bought. And
that's the point I want to make. The party can never be bought. You know, in 2011, certain individuals felt they could buy CDC. They saw the result. The party is too big an institution.
And who are those individuals?
I'm not going to name names.
The Liberty Party said,
But if the Liberty Party believes, if the Liberty
Secretary General Liberty Party said, your Standard Bearer received $180,000 for a collaboration with the Liberty Party.
But if the Liberty Party believes that the way to take power in this country is to bribe people, then you can get power.
Did Josh Well receive money from the Liberty Party?
That's absolute nonsense. If Liberty Party believes the only way they can take power in this country is to bribe people.
Well, you received the bribe.
Nobody bribed somebody. They're making allegations. They have proven it. That's allegation. But what I'm saying,
why you think the Liberty Party will be lying?
It is criminal. It is criminal in nature for anybody to come and say, I bribed somebody to give me power. That's criminal. You want to take power, you go to the Liberian people and ask them for power. You can't be saying, I bribed sedition to give me power. Is that the way you want to run this country? We can't trust anybody with the leadership of this country who want to bribe you with power. And CDC cannot be part of it. Anyone out there who believes that you can walk to the CDC and spend some money and you will get power, then you are a fool. Because we'll never get power to you. So it's very clear. Right now, our party is more concentrated on 2014. I mean, the whole issue of who want to be president, it's a complete destruction.
So 2017
it's a complete destruction. And I want to tell you, it is the focus. I want to tell you, that's a complete destruction. The party has one leader. And that leader is Ambassador George Weah until the primaries in 2017. Until the primary in 2017, Ambassador George Weah remains the political leader of the party. I'm quite aware Ambassador Weah will also be a candidate in 2017 for the Standard Bearership. So for anybody to believe there's a discussion between Ambassador Weah and somebody for the Standard Bearership, that's complete. I don't want to use the word nonsense, but I think it's completely off the mark. CDC is a big party. Our party is open to every citizen of this country. The Constitution provides, and our Constitution provides, once you are a member of the CDC, you have your right appertaining thereto. Every right and privileges. I don't have better right than John Brown. I do not have a better right to become Secretary General than the guy in West Point. I do not have better rights and privileges in the CDC than the guy in Nickel Town. Everybody enjoys equal right. I do not believe Samuel Toure was even arguing against MPP people. I'm a former member of MPP. I'm the Secretary General of CDC.
So you see the battle that was taking place there? Nathaniel McGill was part of MPP during the Taylor administration. So after Taylor was removed from power, the MPP started to die off. When that wave came, Nathaniel McGill came and joined the party. So the argument at that time, when you hear them talking about fact-check rich person, Bernard Ure had money. There were other political parties that had money. But Bernard Ure himself wanted to take charge of the party. But the people did not agree. Yes, the people did not agree. CDC, especially Samuel Toure came from, and that's why Samuel Toure is a disgrace to to the people of Liberia. Samuel Tuah came from a very poor background. Yes, Samuel Tuah came from a very poor background. Yeah, this is Mr. Ure right here, folks. This is Mr. Ure right here, wearing the CDC emblem right here. And all the boys, that when Mr. Ure was coming over to take charge of, he came in with a very big bargaining chip. He wanted to be head of the CDC because they felt that Mr. Weah was not qualified to be the leader. But there was a great divide. Samuel Tuah was squarely against Mr. Ure because he caused chaos in the country and supported bad activities. Nathan McGill was like the rat that eat your heel and get bloated. He don't want to criticize Mr. Ure because he's a former MPP guy, and he don't want to make Mr. Weah to feel bad because Mr. Weah want to retain power. But the question here is, where was Joe Solo? Where was Joe Solo in the whole problem here? We got Joe Solo video, but we're not sure tonight. But what I would say here is this. In the midst of all that rigmarole, Joe Weah was out of this country, and it was being said that Joe Solo decided to sell the franchise to Mr. Ure. That day he was selling CDC to Mr. Ure. And when Mr. Weah came back, news went to him, and they decided to cut Joe Solo off. But how many guys were around at that time to understand the story here? How many guys were around at that time? Not many of you guys were around at that time. So you will not know the story. So when you see the guys on different platforms trying to have the political entertainment, and I here will give you the history here. Because they don't know what they're telling you. They're not giving you guys any lesson learned. They're just creating balawala drama for you guys, and nothing you're learning from it, but just to enjoy the pleasure. But it was based on lack of ethics, lack of good behavior. Yes. Let me see something here. Let me see something here. Let's see here. You see something here. Yeah, so I'm looking at something here critically here. Okay, so right here. Okay, so right here, this is the headline here. I want you guys to look at here. All right, it says Joe Solo somersault over Imparo chairmanship expulsion. This was when Joe Solo was expelled from CDC. That's the story right here. The National Executive Committee of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change has somersaulted over its recent expulsion of Mr. Joe Solo, chairman of the party. It can be recalled that some time ago, NEC of the CDC resolved the issue. So that was something here that happened to Joe Solo here. These are the story here. All right, yeah, that's the story right here. So Joe Solo was expelled from the party because they accused Joe Solo of trying to sell the party to Mr. Ure. And that time, the same program you saw Samuel Tuah on, there was a boy who was beating, and I was holding up. We had an interview with him on Radio LRB. I don't know how many of you guys know about Radio LRB at that time. And he was beating up, and then he came and explained the story, all right? Yeah, he came and explained the story here and stuff like that. So let's listen to Joe Solo here, all right? Let's listen to Joe Solo. I want you to listen to Joe Solo in an interview with Jim Botte here. All right, let's listen to Joe Solo here in an interview with Jim Botte here.
As we turned the car around, moving into the party headquarters, the ARU guys were behind us firing. And I'm talking about live round. And they follow us into the party headquarters and continue to shoot at the crowd with live ammunition. We were in there for 2 hours. Those guys continue to fire in the yard and continue to shoot tear gas into the party headquarters building. We have 2 bodies, but we also have 4, 5, 6 claims of death. We got stories of people being shot on the beach and bodies taken and transported back to who knows where. This is a clear case of just murder of innocent Liberian people. As I speak to you now, radio stations that are balanced in their reporting, like Kings FM, like Love FM, like Power TV, are being closed. The security apparatus are there right now. We are receiving calls of journalists being threatened to give tips of the incident.
Why would the police want the journalists to give the...
All right, so that was George Solo there. Whenever you hear CDC celebrating Blue Day, that was on November the 7th, 2011, when CDC went. If you ever saw that thing, that when you know that George Weah is a friend. George Weah is a very scary man. He don't like too much tension. On that very day, George Weah was a friend. He was rescued by the Union Mill soldier at that time. But what I want you guys to understand here is when George Solo made that attempt to sell the party franchise to Mr. Ure, it was when George Solo got expelled from the party. And in all fairness to George Solo, I think it would be right for George Solo to come and tell the true story about what really happened on that day. And Witherspoon, this guy they call Witherspoon doesn't get it damn about you guys. He just found out that he just like to entertain you guys because he knows Liberian love entertainment. Liberian don't look at things from things logically to define what really wrong and what can we do to fix it. So Mr. How do you call it? Mr. Witherspoon will just sit down today. Oh yeah, I can't agree. I can't show today. Yeah, just to do I can't show. You can't not here together. He just sit down and he watching Liberian people and say, you know what? There are more unserious people in this country than serious people, and we make use of the unserious people here, and you know, and then they make all the things out of pleasure. But the question here is, if you even doubted me, what are you learning from what is happening in the CDC today? Why is the CDC misbehaving? What is the root cause? What are the contributing factors? And what can you learn from that? What are you implementing in your party today that will prevent you from going the same way that CDC went today? The reason CDC failed today is because they were not willing to listen to the right advice. They were not willing to listen to nobody. They felt they were their own people. The member of the party, the partisan, they all felt that it was their time and nothing could stop them. So they went in there with all no advice. And I see similar thing happening today in other political parties. You know, there's just one thing about keeping your eye on the ball and not listening to what other people say. It has the propensity to damage the image of the party. And that's why I'm very, very concerned about things. And that's why I speak the way I speak on things. Because I see more risks than having a precautionary step in what we do in our country, in our politics. Because there's one thing about, or fundamental things about us, that once we know we're in it clear, when we don't want to get something, we become tone deaf. We don't care to listen to nobody. So George Solo was expelled. But between 2012 up to 2017, Samuel Twe was eventually working with the Unity Party. If you listen to Mr. Amara Kone here, let me bring you guys to some important thing he said the last time. There are some people in the government that assisted here, but I will not say name. One of the people is Samuel Twe. Yes. One of the people is Samuel Twe. Amara Kone assisted Samuel Twe. He joined people accusing him of being part of the Liberty Party. I mean the Unity Party. But he got a job with the Ministry of Finance and went out there and worked his way out and went to how they call it place. He went to African Development Bank in Abidjan. So Amara Kone on that one was right. But there were many people that were left out. Moba Molu and all this stuff and that. Orisha Gu, who established the ANC today, established the ANC because when they had the first convention in 2005, Samuel Twe won. Orisha Gu felt that it was not right, so they left and established the Alternative National Congress as an alternative to the CDC. And that's what we are today. That's why when people say, you see, when people say CDC is ANC, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, he shared the story, but I don't know why he gave the story in detail. He tried to give the franchise to CDC, to Mr. Uri. That's what he was trying to do. I don't know whether he said that on Prophet Key show, but he tried to sell the franchise of CDC to Mr. Uri. And our page George Weah on George Weah King. George Weah said the party not for sale because Ellen was not going to allow CDC to be sold to Bernard Uri because Ellen knew that CDC was a party to reckon with, and she was not going to sell it to Uri because Uri doesn't like Ellen. Why? Because Ellen got behind Uri's best friend that he benefited from, Charles Taylor, so that roughness between them has not been good for a very long time. And that was the reason why they keep George out of there. So I just want to let you guys know that when you see this thing there on Spoon, people making any noise there here, I just want to give you a back history about what happened and what lesson we can learn from it. Because if we don't know where we're coming from, if we don't make peace with our past, we will not be able to make progress in our pathway. Because we must understand where we're coming from to determine where we're going. Because if not, we are bound to make the same mistake. We got to understand where we're coming from to determine where we're going. But I see many people around that don't understand why we need to be together. I see many people don't understand that. Yes, we don't understand these things. But do I have any issue with that? No, I don't have absolutely no issue with that because I know it is our common tendency that we cannot listen to what people say all the time because when we're keeping our eye on the ball, there is nothing else that can stop us from moving forward until we get to where we want to get. And, but CDC was a very unified and unique party that people wanted to be part of. But because of the disunity, the lack of integrity, the lack of party discipline, the lack of leadership, they became very disarrayed, they became disorganized, and they started to do things out of the way. And in the end, this is what we have today. Yes, this is what we have today. This is what we have today here. I got another photo here I'd like to share with you guys here. Let me see if I can share the photo with you guys here. Very interesting photo here. Let's see here. Got a very interesting one here for you guys. Let me see if I can share that one with you guys here right now. Very interesting one here. Yes. I'm a guy who loves to keep history, so just so you know, I love to keep history. So please forgive me. All right, please forgive me if I show you history here. So here, this photo right here. All right, so this is Nathaniel McGill here. This is Chairman Asifa Tokpa, and this is Arthur Sakama here. All right, back in the days. Just FYI for you guys. Now, why am I sharing all these things here? Because we are all Liberians. When we see something wrong, we call it all wrong, and then we move on. My thing here is, if we don't understand where we're coming from, the problem in our country has been able to transcend from one administration to another. And it always remains the same. But what has changed over the years has been the people in power, the people in the different political parties. They are the ones that continue to keep in check the bad behavior in our government and in our political system, our culture. And until we get to understand these things here, I still believe that we cannot make progress. Until we get to accept the fact that every organization must have a vision. The vision will be supported by a mission statement. We must have objectives and goals, but our core value that govern us, we should be able to use that core value principle through our constitution or bylaw to help create a party disciplined behavior among ourselves. We will not go anywhere. We can speak all the BB, but we can have all the BB platform. But how do we measure our progress as this country? Because having all the different platforms here will not do us any good if we cannot measure our progress. I mean, for 127, 75 years now, we can barely get drinking water across the country. We barely have roads across the country. Nobody can hold their breath and drive through all Liberia and get out. But we're 175 years old. Queen Elizabeth just died a few days. But President Thomas saw Queen Elizabeth for many, many years. But she died, leaving her country in a very better state. But she was around with President Thomas. They hang out for a lot of good times. She visited Liberia. And when you see the same image or picture that she visited Liberia, coming down that Morville City Hall, you go there today, the same image still there. Nothing has changed. Liberia has become the biggest country, the biggest museum. Honestly, Liberia is like the biggest museum nation. Because you see things that you imagine that should have been going a long time ago. People born young, people born from their young age, they tend to men, they go back to Liberia to see the same old thing. I'm very concerned about ethics in our but not having better results is because we don't apply ethics to things. Ethics help us to become better people. And I will not start talking about ethics until we become good. It's like you hold a Bible, you go to church, but you're not practicing the things of God. Ethics, good ethics will not allow you to steal. Good ethics will not allow you to cheat. Good ethics will not allow you to accept things on the other way and not accept things on the other way. I'm a strong believer of ethics because I believe with ethical practices, we will minimize things. Good ethics will not see somebody say, oh, my man, I went to Liberia today. I came by here with fun. What kind of fun? Where I had a good time with, people there. No. Ethics will always challenge the things that are not good for our country and how well can we reject them. That's what ethics does. But I don't see it happening among us. Maybe it will take a miracle. So today, as I see Akaras Gray going against George Solo, I see Samuel 12 coming on trying to defend George Weah or defend George Weah. It becomes very sad. Yeah, it becomes a sad thing. To be honest, it hurts for me to see it. Because these are young people who put themselves together back in the days and felt that they could make Liberia a better country. But there was one piece that they did not integrate into their plan, and that was ethical behavior. What are the right things that we all should agree to, and what are the things that are wrong that we should disagree to? And are we all aligned? It was never there. They had everything, but they never put in place ethics. Because with good ethics, Mr. Weah was going to go build house, we're going to say, Mr. Weah, do you see any ethics in those things? You just became president, you want to go build houses over there. Even if you get the money, how you think the people will judge you? Just wait here, don't do it. It's ethically wrong. It's morally not correct. And if they had come out from that background as a party, now government, say, yeah, my man, you're right. Because we can just kind of start building our own property and leaving the people out. Why it is true that it is not illegal to do because I got my own money, so to speak, but it is morally wrong and it has no ethical value in it. So I don't think I should do it. So based on the two core value component, you will say no to those things, right? But because they were not guided by these standards, and you don't blame them because in our country, most of our government agency and ministry, they don't teach ethics. So people don't follow ethical standards in our country. And that's why we are the way we are. But we only want to react to things when we're not seeing it in our favor and then we become oh, my man, we can't do that, we can't do that. So that's why it is. So when I see Akaras Gray going against these people on Spoon having fun, it is a grand total shame to our country generation. It is not CDC that is bringing shame to. It is not Akara's grade. It is not Joshua. It is not Samuel Twain. It is not Joshua. It is the grand total behavior of our country that is being measured over them. And that's why people don't understand. Somebody from outside that watching inside will say, geez, look at these people call themselves country. Look at the kind of childish thing they're doing out there. What kind of people are these people? And guess what? Those foreigners that are in our country, the foreign partner, just how you and I will watch MSNBC or we'll see drama in America, just how we'll listen to radio. These people in America, from America, from Europe that live in Africa, they sit the time and watch government officials on different something. Look at these people. Look at these people here. These are government officials. Know how they behaving to them. And don't mind you, they understand the way we speak because they live among us. So they all understand the way we speak. You and I live in this country. We understand how the people speak. The people understand how we speak. So make no mistake, the people who are foreign partners in our country that live there, they watch our talk shows, they listen to us, they understand how we speak. They know about us. Just how we know about the government here, the system here, how they know about us. But when they're ready to draw a conclusion, their conclusion will be very worse of us than we draw a conclusion here of them because we are beneficiary. We benefit from their system here. And then where they just look at and say, something wrong with these people. But my question here is, how many of us really understand to what extent we're humiliating ourselves right before the people who are foreign partners with us in Liberia before we even say outside of Liberia? Do you think these guys on spoon understand these things? No. They find pleasure in humiliating our people out there rather than providing constructive criticism. But the second question here is, what are we doing now as opposition? Are we preparing ourselves to say, you know what, our margin for error should not be 1. It should be 0.001, which is less than 1. That is where we want to start our margin for error. And how do we maintain that margin for error? Is to make sure that we look at ethics and how it applies to our daily life. We should make sure that we be able to challenge ourselves based on what we can do and what we can do. Is to be able to look at each other and tell each other the truth. So that way when we rehearse the kind of behavior, we can begin to practice it and begin to govern ourselves if we do become the leadership of the country. Because the last thing we want to do is to get into power, then we start to adjust our bad behavior that will give rise to a new opposition to say, oh, look at the guys there. They were over there, they used to talk about this, they used to talk about that, now they get in power, now they don't even know where to start from. Hello, yeah, your video then, yeah, you used to be this, you used to be that. Then guess what happened? Distraction. What you're supposed to focus on to do, you're not paying attention to that. Liberia will be a failed country and continue to be a failed country if we don't learn from the past. In America here, when things happen, they investigate it, they find corrective action, they put in place the measure, they move on. In Liberia, we keep repeating the same thing. We don't find the investigation part of it. We don't put in the corrective action. We just swallow it, sweep it on the road, we move on. With that kind of behavior, I can guarantee you, Liberia will not be a better country until 2065. By then, many of us will be dead and gone, and thank God for the new technology. Our children and the young children that will be growing up will grow up in a society that is very mature in terms of technology, artificial intelligence. Those children will do better than all the generation from 65 above and then from 64 below. We will not do our country a justice. I'm telling you now. Why? Because for 175 years, see how many mistakes we have made over the years. And see how much less progress we have made since 1847 or since 1822 or since the 1900s of Liberia existed. How much progress have we made? Look at the country. Look at our country. The reality is there for you to see. This is not story. Many of us grew up in certain community in Liberia. No matter where you are in part of the world, how long you stay, when you go back to Liberia, you can still recognize things. I remember the thing right here. But even your children you born in other country, By the time they turn 10 years old, certain places have changed because of continuous improvement. We don't have those things. So it is time for us to examine ourselves. It's time for us to conscientize ourselves. I'm very cognizant of the fact that if we don't do these things, we're going to have problems along the way. Yes, we'll have problems along the way. And I mean, I understand that many people don't like the kind of, what I call rare meat. This is what I call the rare meat discussion. And whenever you hear people tell you, say, Randy is the rare meat discussion. The rare meat are things that you bring out that make people uncomfortable. But the reality is, it is true. So when I bring out the rare meat conversation here, because we are not used to it, people get, oh, my man, let's go, man. That man talking crap. But like I said, last year, the beginning of last year, I said we'll not achieve anything in Liberia. This year, again, I got my video. I said we'll not achieve anything this year. We are in the month of September now. 4 more months to go to the end of the year. What have we achieved in Liberia? Nothing. And if you look at it from a cumulative standpoint, from 1847 up to today, we haven't achieved anything. Nothing we have achieved. So as a country in its totality, we are not making that much progress. We are the least when it comes to development. That's who we are. And, so we just got to continue to pray. I understand that, but at the same time, where we all faith is dead. We have to work towards things in order to make our country better. And this conversation go across everybody. It go across everybody. It's not just for one individual, it's not for CDC today. But I see the lack of ethics in the CDC government is why today they are the way they are. I mean, you see, one of them how they were young, and they wanted to do good for the country. But they went into government with all no ethics. And they were not willing to bring people who could provide them with some type of oversight facilitation to help them to grow. They never did that. They went in there, they did their own thing. And that's how you see today now they are loggerhead because they had nobody to provide guidance to them on how they should govern themselves as leader of that country. They never pay attention to those things. They just went in there and started doing their own thing. And because they came with no powerful or strong experience, they messed things up today. And the way we are today with the country. So as I wind down my lecture tonight, what would be the future of the next government? Will it be another excuse to come and say, hey, the people had to deal with it? The Liberian people had to deal with it. No. If you plan, you will avoid poor performance. And equally so, if you plan to fail, then you shouldn't have planned from the beginning. So for me, I see what happened to the CDC as a lesson learned or a learned lesson. So how can we make it right for ourselves? That is the question I have. It's a very tough topic to undertake. And the reason many people, I believe, are not interested in this thing because they don't want change. Ethics bring about changes in our lives. Ethics challenge the way we do things and tell us whether it makes sense to do it that way or we need to re-strategize ourselves. And we human beings, we hate changes or we hate change. So nobody wants to be told what to do, especially when you've been doing that thing for a very long time. We are getting used to corruption. It lives with us, it sleeps with us. We have been doing things out of rules. Most of the things we do in Liberia is called unwritten rules. Unwritten rules are things that we do with no rules. So it's called unwritten rules. Anything you do with no standard operating procedure, with no protocol, no standard, whether it's gold standard, silver standard, basic standard, anything you do without no guidelines, it is considered to be unwritten rules. And those kind of rules doesn't help the country at all. So yeah, so guys, let's say a big thank you to you guys there. Thank you very much. And for the second round, this is our second show here. We started this technically it's our third show here today. So we started this morning on our way to work. We came back. We did the 2 hour of the coming show. I would like to say thank to everyone who attended the coming show today. Please don't feel offended. Don't take things personally. Things that I express here. I'm only trying to do the best for my country. I'm not here to please an individual. I'm only here to do what is right for my country. As a citizen, I want to make sure that I make the right decision. I say the right things so that when tomorrow generation come to judge, they will say, yes, this guy they call Jay Rennie, he says some things that we can relate to today that makes sense. I want to make sure that when that next generation, because you see, what my calendar is right here. It came a time I used to blast these guys in. For those of you that follow me back in the days, I used to call all the people here jackasses. I used to call them jackasses. I always just say to myself, these jackasses then came to power, they did nothing for our future. But guess what? As I'm putting my one finger there, the other 4 finger coming back to me. Because in the next generation to come, we are leaving things on YouTube, we are leaving things on Facebook. One of your grandchildren that will come in the year 2065 and will say, let me find out what's going on in Liberia here. Oh yeah, this guy here, Jay Rennie, yes. Damn, this was way back in 2022. And what year is this? 2065. Damn. Let me see what the guy was saying over there. Boom, we go look at it now. And then yeah, Jay Rennie talking. He said, yeah, they used to have a popular talk show host. Yeah, let me go watch the guy. All right. And then you see different drama over there. And somebody, your grandchildren will be very smart. Say, okay, now what happened here? This guy saying this thing here, and the other guy saying it here. But what happened in between them? And one of you will be alive. And you will have to tell the truth. You have to tell the truth. And you know what the truth is. Because there is always that one person that God will leave alive to tell the truth before God call that person home. Who that person will be, I don't know. But you will have to tell your grandchildren the truth as to what happened. You saw Jiggin Scott. He was the last man that God chose to be alive from the PRC days. And many people who knew who he was, they were telling the younger generation, that guy used to be very dangerous. And children be like, wow. So there's always that one person that God will leave behind. So whatever we planning today, when that seed germinate and start to bear fruit tomorrow, those who will be eating the fruit, at least those who planted the seeds today should tell the people what kind of food they're eating tomorrow. And that will be up to y'all. So whatever you do, make sure you do it good. Because when society comes to judge you, you will not be able to move the hands of time back. To say, let me go back to 2019, 2020. And for me, I always believe that what is right, I should say it. For 2 reasons. For being a patriotic human being in the eyes of God for Liberia. And 2, as a Christian, I stand by what the Bible says. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good work and glorify your Father's name in heaven. Trust me, I used to go to church. The Bible says somebody who backslide, it's very hard to be convinced. And I'm one of those. I used to be in the things of God. But from what I see myself doing, I have become a backslider. And to get me back to the Bible, you got to be very tough. Because every part of that Bible that I studied in the past, I understand it. So as a child of God, and as someone who I understood Liberian politics from 2010, as you watch the video here today, the same problem that Nathaniel McGill spoke about, the same problem George Soros talked about, the same problem Javosi Koji talked about, including George Weah, those same things are existing today, and many of you guys are talking about it. But where I'm very pessimistic is how our behavior, our ethics going to align with what we are identifying. When will we agree that this is wrong? And if somebody tell us we should agree rather than disagree with the person. And then where things can get out of hand. And what happened to CDC today. Today when Nathaniel McGill watched the video here, he want to wish that he could get back in that video to undo every bad things. But it cannot happen. It's not in our reality today. Because he didn't listen from the beginning. And that's why his character has been tinted like that today. Toto is coming out trying to defend George Williams because he didn't listen to nobody. So they all fall short on the principle of ethics. They never built ethics in their platform. They had a vision, they had a mission, they had a goal, they had a tax, but they never had core value. So the lesson here is when you have an organization, whether you got a vision, you got a mission statement, you got your objective, you got your goal, the next one that you follow should be your core value. Your core value that look at moral behavior, that look at ethical standard, and that look at moral, integrity. Because those two things, moral and ethical, will make that entire institution to have integrity. If you don't have those things, you screw. So CDC had everything in place, but because they did not have moral standards, how to do things, how should we behave? Is this thing right? Are these other set of rules better for us? Is it ethically wrong or morally wrong? What should we do? They never look at those things, and that will guide them to where they are today. So guys, I would like to say a big thank you to you guys. Again, I don't hate you guys. This is my place here. I'm going to die in this country here. But before God call me home, I want to make sure that those of you who disagree with me, I have to leave my voice with you guys so that when you start to screw things up, you will always come back to my video and say, he said it. But I may not be around at that time. So you can hate me today, you can love me today. God will keep many of you guys alive, and y'all will get to see what I'm talking about, and y'all will say, Jay Rennie is right. But when that time you made that confession to yourself, I may not be around for you to say you were right. This is the time now that you need to agree to what Jay Rennie is telling you. Because when that time comes where you can't find me, it will be too late. You will have to live with your conscience. And who are you going to convince? Not your grandchildren, because they're not part of your generation. They have their own mind of themselves. So in order for us to make that world better, we have to start to make the change within ourselves. But when the change come now, look at the number of people that are watching me right now that have